bring this meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Roll call.
Yes. Mrs. Alpert,
Present.
Mr. Dave,
Present.
Mrs. Cohn,
Here.
Ms. Cruz,
Present.
and Mr. Hanley is excused for the evening. He's on vacation.
Executive session.
Everything's fine other than the, the different legal actions we have pending, but they're all under control.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from the public hearing held June 2nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
And just to clarify, that was the agency plan hearing that was held prior to the regular monthly meeting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held June 2nd, 2025.
So moved.
I'll second. No.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report for the period May 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2025. In Commissioner Hanley's absence, I will be reading it this evening. This report is as of June 30th, 2025. The balances in our checking accounts and money market accounts are $1,073,611.39. Investments made in certificates of deposits amounted to $8,558,891.32. Petty cash and magistrate funds totaled $11,400 for a grand total of $9,643,902.71. Paid bills from May 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2025 were forwarded to all members. If there are no questions, a motion should be made for approval of this report.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry.
Okay.
Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Secretary's report.
We have had no communications this month.
Okay. We now welcome public comment. As per Housing Authority policy, we allow the public 5 minutes to speak, and we request that you show respect and decorum in your comments. Our first speaker of the evening is Mr. Rick Little.
Hi, Rick Little. I was just looking at the minutes from last week, and when I said last week, it's recorded in the minutes as garbled. And where it says garbled, I said prothothony. That is the money that you pay into the court system for the privilege of using the court system. And it's not supposed to be taken until the end of the case. In my case, it was taken even when I won the case of being evicted from Scranton Housing Authority. It's money you pay into the court. There's a lot of talk on every level about what Trump is doing or what Elon Musk is doing about that's affecting the local, municipal, county, and state money. And as an article I read about SNAP in the paper, and last week I went to Marty Flynn's office about them suddenly cutting SNAP benefits. by far the most important thing is housing. If you don't have housing, you're dead. There's no place to live. And I lived here for 14 and a half years, and through certain machinations, I got evicted, even though my rent was paid. I have a letter from numerous people saying my rent was paid. So, and the same thing with the SNAP. They're looking at the money. It's federal money coming in, but to administer it, as with Health and Human Services, is the Department of Education and HUD. And there's a basic lie that's been going on for a long time, that this building and all these buildings are owned by HUD. And that is simply not true, knowing the history. I mean, it was told to me by Sean Gallagher, the attorney at Scranton City Council, but these word shifts of who owns what and what is going on has to be delineated, because there's certain people that live like I do, totally on Social Security, where if you don't get your federal housing subsidy, you have to leave the county. And everybody who has all these 501c jobs, people in Area Agency on Aging and, you know, the Lackawanna County housing, you're destined to be homeless if you get evicted. There's no living in Lackawanna County. And there has to be a clear delineation of how much money is spent on administering all the millions of federal dollars that come in. When I lived here, you know, they spent millions. I think it was like 2.7 million on a security system, you know, and I had zero privacy in my apartment. I had bad PSTD coming in, you know, having come through family court in New York State, and people would just walk into my room, steal from me. The manager would put people above me and to the side of me that were clearly mentally deranged, you know, and they flooded my apartment twice. And that's what has to be looked at, because I talked to the mayor and I talked to all the people in the government around here, and they all have the managers of Scranton Housing Authority on their speed dial. And it's not legal what's going on. And my heart goes out to these people, because you delineate Scranton Housing Authority and you pick and choose what buildings are covered by that. And I don't think you can do that. I don't think you have the right to do that. If you're a federal housing HUD field office, you can't pick and choose, say, oh, Park Gardens isn't covered by the federal thing, and at the same time giving people jobs. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, Mr.
Madam
Little.
Chair, if I may just clarify, I think what Rick Little is referring to is the Prothonotari's office. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's also known as the Clerk of Courts, where you would put money in on an appeal of a landlord-tenant dispute. So I believe the word we're trying to decipher is prothonotary. Thank you.
Yeah.
So can we amend the minutes so that it's
Next.
no longer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, Frankie Malacaria.
Good evening. My reason for being here today is to inquire about whether or not Scranton Housing Authority has been looking into, I believe it's fair cloth to rad structuring. From my understanding, this is a way of reapportioning the HUD limit, the fair cloth limit that we have at 1,200 units or somewhere around there. And from my understanding, we don't quite hit that. We're like 60 to 80 short of that limit. And it allows us to get funding from HUD to allocate for building additional units to meet our fair cloth limit. This is typically done in like public-private partnerships, not necessarily that has to be the case. But from my understanding, there's a way of structuring it so that the Scranton Housing Authority can create a nonprofit under your guidance, and that nonprofit can then be used to route those fair cloth to red dollars. So that's basically the main reason that I'm here today, and I hope to hear some of it later. Thank you.
Frank?
Yep.
Yes, sir. I can tell you this much, we are exploring a couple different options in regards to that. We're just waiting for information back from a different group of consultants regarding conversion of certain property, if it's feasible or not. So we should have some information in the next several months.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That exhausts the sign-in sheet. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Well, speak during the resolution, I think.
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, I think during the resolution as
Okay,
like a. Okay. Next, committee report. In lieu of a chairman report tonight, I will be deferring to Commissioners Cohen and Alpert they have a report.
You need me to move this or?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So I just have a little report on a tour that Commissioner Alpert and I took with Mr. Lynett of all of the properties of the Scranton Housing Authority. So I'm just so bear with me for a few minutes as I just share some reflections from that. We had the opportunity to do this. Both of us have joined the authority just in the last several months. So personally, I've had the occasion to visit or drive by many of the different properties, but this was the first time I did it in kind of totality, and to meet staff and residents, and it was extremely beneficial. So again, I want to especially thank Mr. Lynett, who was our excellent tour guide and navigated us. It was a day where we had torrential downpour in Scranton, and we were all up and down hills and everything, so thank you for doing that. So first of all, I want to emphasize and underscore the important role that the SHA plays in this community to provide affordable housing for low-income residents. At a time when communities around the country are experiencing a housing crisis, I saw firsthand how the SHA works to address vast basic needs here in Scranton. These are important efforts toward trying to realize the human right that each person has to safe and dignified housing, especially marginalized and vulnerable communities who cannot afford market-rate housing here in Scranton. We visited the high-rises in downtown and west side that serve older adults and people with disabilities. We went to the complexes across the city, including in North Scranton, south side, west side, and downtown that predominantly serve families. We also drove by scattered sites and properties that receive project-based vouchers, and we discussed how housing choice vouchers are utilized by residents directly with landlords across every neighborhood of the city. Altogether, we gained a comprehensive view of the various critical needs in the city, the ways the SHA is working to meet them, and also how there is more work to be done. Throughout the tour, we came across some challenges and opportunities to strengthen our work and build on collaborations. We saw green spaces, landscaping, and flowers that beautify the sites. We saw a new gazebo at one property, and we also saw how some of the properties need more or updated recreational equipment for children, further landscaping, and also heard some residents express desire for community gardens. In many properties, there are well-maintained community rooms and tenant-organized events like bingo and birthday nights, but we also saw how we could do more to provide resources and programming so that these rooms are better utilized, including through tapping into more partnerships that can assist and empower residents and reduce social isolation. We saw the good long-standing work of community partner Friends of the Poor, which runs food pantries, clothing giveaways, and other activities at several sites, and ways that residents partner with and benefit from their important activities. We were also able to tour major renovations underway at Valley View Terrace, including to the external facades and inside the units. These are critical improvements to ensure that SHA properties are dignified places to call home, and such improvements are also necessary at some other properties as funding becomes available. We also visited Park Gardens in Green Ridge, which is an SHA-owned and operated property that does not receive federal funding through HUD, but in past years has offered low rents without income verification requirements. There we saw improvements to vacant apartments underway, and also how a new feasibility study can help continue our ongoing review of this property, including how to financially stabilize it and ensure that it appropriately serves the needs of the community moving forward, especially when we think of Scranton needing more mixed income housing. The highlights of the tour for me were the dedication of the staff, and in particular, the resilience and commitment of the residents to the community that they have built within these properties. Whether the personal touches that make the community rooms in Washington West feel like home, or the mutual aid clothing swaps at Hilltop Manor, or the community nights with a resident DJ at Jackson Heights, all of this despite many challenges, including recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. I came away with a renewed dedication to the mission that we have here at the SHA to provide safe, decent, and affordable housing and to assist individuals and families as they strive to achieve self-sufficiency and improve the quality of their lives, and to what more we can do to meet the needs of our neighbors in Scranton's public housing. And I look forward to continuing that work in collaboration with all stakeholders. And I also wanted to give a chance to my colleague, Commissioner Alpert, if she had wanted to add anything.
No, I'm just so grateful that Julie took the amazing notes and she made them so beautifully written. So thank you for doing that. And Carl, thank you so much for taking the time. It was a really fun-filled day and got to really feel connected to the residents and the employees. And, you know, Julie and I together, like we said, we've driven by before on our own, but just to feel what's needed. And our mission is very clear and we have a lot of work to do, but grateful for everything that we've been able to see. Thank you.
Well, I am grateful to my two colleagues for going on the tour. I did a similar one with Mr. Lina last summer when I first joined, and I came away with the similar observations that the site managers and the maintenance workers at each location are very dedicated and devoted to each of their individual developments, and the residents who live there, many of them are lifelong residents or who have just moved in recently, are, you know, have a real sense of ownership of where they live and have really built small communities, little villages in each area of the city where our different properties reside. So I'm very happy that they were able to see what I saw, and as Mr. Dave lives in one every day. So yeah, so I'm very grateful that we were able to tour and feel more connected to the work that we're doing, not just looking at, you know, black and white documents or numbers, but actually seeing each individual person, and, you know, putting names and faces to the buildings. So, okay, so next, director's report, executive director report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, thank both of you for coming, and Ms. Cruz, last summer you went with us, and Mr. Dave's obviously our resident board member, but it means a lot because you are all volunteers, and for you to take that time to go out and see what's needed, what the people are like, and just where they live, rather than, like you said, on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It meant so much to those different people you ran into, our staff, and myself and John Scott. It's truly appreciated the work you do here, and hopefully we can do more now that you've seen things that are required and where we can best utilize funding and maybe some different personnel matters and stuff of that nature. But as you can see, they're all well maintained. Some people had the floors decorated. Each floor had a different setup. Some people had their porches decorated, or gardens, or lights. The gazebo's a big hit over at the Jackson high-rise, and they decorated that interior too. So more stuff like that, even though it might be a small thing, means the world to those residents. So I appreciate you guys doing that, and again, if you ever want to do it or a certain spot, please let me know. But thank you. First off, utility report. For June, the total was $284,540.16. Previous month was $275,289.15. On the delinquency report, for June, a total of 337 delinquent accounts at a total cost of $263,773.14, down from May at 402. Delinquent accounts at $282,679.33, and April's was 302 delinquent accounts at a total of $236,329.49. The construction report, Madam Chair, as of July 7th, 2025, Site work for Building 13 and 14 eaves is 85% complete. Thin brick is 100% complete on Building 13. Landscaping is 90% complete. Site drainage is 85% complete. The metal railings at both buildings are complete. Trimming of the steel columns is at 80% on Building 13 and has not started at Building 14. Mailboxes have been installed, and the contractor has confirmed that they have received the 90-day temporary occupancy permit for the city of Scranton. Building 12 is still ongoing. They're moving along rather well there, but as part of our tour, we did tour a new unit up at Valley View, and it was very impressive. The whole project is coming together, and it's just about complete, ready for move-in. So people are going to benefit from the funds that were used to repair and remodel over 16 apartments up there, and hopefully we get some people in housing very shortly up there. As far as Building 12, the masonry work is complete minus the outside brick. Interior wall studs are 100% complete. Rigid insulation on the exterior walls is being installed. Exterior porch installations are in progress. Drywall is 90% hung. Drywall spackle and sanding is 20% complete. Window installation is 100% complete. Spray foam in the crawl space is 100% complete. HVAC construction, the kitchen hood ducts are complete minus the connection to the hood, and submittals on pump and expansion tank have been approved. Plumbing construction, continue to rough in as the walls are being framed. Tubs are setting. Installing pipe insulation is 100% complete. Crawl space main line modifications to the sewer, hot and cold water are 80% complete. Electrical construction, main panels are 90% complete. They start at the apartment feeds, and the rough-in is 100% complete. The Jackson Heights flooring, removal and installation of new flooring is complete, along with painting of the walls, waiting payment application from the contractor. And again, we saw that as part of the tour, and the tenants were very, very grateful. They really liked that improvement. Finally, the apartment report, Madam Chair. Under our public housing program, we have an ACC of 1,214 units with 1,167 units under effective lease. There are 48 vacant apartments, in which 27 vacant units are under modernization, vacant, HUD approved. Under our Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, we have an ACC of 1,050 units with 732 units under effective lease. Total apartments under effective lease by the Scranton Housing Authority as of June 30th, 2025 are 1,899 out of an ACC of 2,264 units. Total apartments under effective lease at Park Gardens are 157 out of 166 apartments. That concludes the director's report.
Okay. Solicitor report?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. There's presently 6 open matters in litigation. There's some right-to-know issues. All of those are being handled pursuant to the correct procedure. Do not see exposure on them. Also, there's a number of issues that we've met with the executive director dealing with the prior labor issues and also these funding projects going forward. But everything's on plan, and I don't see any particular problems.
Thank you. Nothing under unfinished business. So under new business, resolution number 25-12, disposal of excess equipment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution 25-12, approval for the disposal of excess equipment. Whereas the Scranton Housing Authority on June 5th, 2000 adopted an amended disposition policy, and whereas in accordance with said disposition policy, equipment and/or personal property that is worn out, obsolete, or surplus to the needs of the Housing Authority excess to be disposed of must be written off and disposed of in an efficient manner. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the Scranton Housing Authority hereby approves the attached list designated as Exhibit A of worn-out excess equipment from the reference developments be written off and disposed of in an efficient manner. And as you can see on the list, there are 3 refrigerators, Bangor Heights, 1 at the west, 2 at the plaza, for a total of 6 refrigerators. Stoves, 2 at Bangor Heights, one at the plaza for a total of 3 stoves, and no air conditioning units. So a total of 9 pieces of equipment, appliances will be disposed of. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Alpert?
Yes.
Mr. Dave?
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 25-12, disposition of land at Hilltop.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 25-13, to authorize the submission of an application to HUD for the disposition of property at the Hilltop Manor development. Whereas the Scranton Housing Authority owns and controls the property known as Hilltop Manor, which is in the South Scranton neighborhood in the city of Scranton at Saginaw and Thunderbird Drive, Saginaw Street and Thunderbird Drive. The property is currently the site of a 250-unit public housing property, whereas over approximately the last 75 years, the parcel of property in question has been vacant and undeveloped. Whereas SHA has determined that it is in the best interest of the SHA to lease the property to Quandel Construction Company, who has the financial capacity to maintain the site and determine its best use for community recreational activities. And whereas the property has been subject to the recorded U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD Declaration of Trust, and to facilitate this disposition, the SHA proposed to apply to HUD for the authority to dispose of the property. So now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of the Scranton Housing Authority hereby adopts Resolution 25-13 to authorize the Executive Director of the SHA to take all necessary steps to submit to HUD an application for the disposition of a parcel of land at the SHA's Hilltop Manor site. Adopted by the Board of Commissioners and signed in authentication of its passage on the 7th of July, 2025. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can we, wait,
Well, yeah, I was going to do on the question. On the question, I'd like to invite the former Honorable Mayor, Christopher Doherty, to speak on this project as he's involved in it.
Thank you,
Senator-
Madam Chairwoman. It's great to be here at the Housing Authority. I represent Noble Quandel Partnerships, which is underneath Quandel Construction. We are developers of tax credit housing projects throughout Pennsylvania. Primarily, locally, we've done, this will be our 3rd project. We've done Scranton Square and North Scranton Junior High in the recent years. We will provide 35 new units for families at this location. We anticipate, with your support, that we will start within 60 days construction and will probably be finished 15 months after that. But it's a great project, and we're very excited about it. It's the first time we will be doing families in the city, so we're looking forward to getting this started and completed.
Okay. And these units, 35 of them, they will be strictly affordable housing units for people who need them?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Do any of my other colleagues have any questions for Mayor? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
On the resolution,
Uh,
can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On resolution number 25-13, Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn,
yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion for disposition of funds for closing costs at Hilltop Heights. Mr. Lynette, do we have an exact number of what the closing costs will be?
I believe the total amount is $200,000 for the final submission from our end as part of this program to get this to the closing and finish line and engage in a lease with Quandel Construction. But it's $200,000 that we will be contributing to that program.
Okay.
Can I have a motion on that?
And this will be coming out of our, like, general,
This is coming out of non-federal funds,
okay.
okay?
So moved?
Second.
Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn,
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Bid opening which took place on May 19th, 2025, cleaning supplies for all developments.
The motion, excuse me, the submission for cleaning supply bids was One Point Incorporated. It was a bid of $26,849.79. It's the lowest responsible bidder, and they've met all requirements in the bid form. Based on Attorney Doherty's letter, it is his opinion the contract for the cleaning supply bids project should be awarded to One Point Inc. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the motion to award the cleaning supplies bid to One Point Incorporated, Mrs. Alpert,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn,
Yes.
and Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, an A&E proposal for Park Gardens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There was a RFP put out and end of May, I believe. We had one bid, and the bid was from, correct me if I'm wrong, DeCipio and Associates. And based upon the recommendations of our internal panel, they recommend that the proposal from DeCipio and Associates be approved. And the cost, is it in here? It's around $16,500 approximately. I would recommend at this point, the board approve this proposal from the DeCipio and Associates. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Alpert?
Yes.
Mr. Dave?
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
And again, this will be funded with non-federal funds as well, and we will award that in the near future. Go ahead.
Just for clarification, it's 16,000.
16,000, not 16,500, I'm sorry.
16,000 even.
It's 16,000 even, thank you.
So then this money will be coming directly from the revenue from the tenant rents?
No,
Okay,
this money is gonna be coming from a certificate of deposit, but not until August 4th, when
Okay.
it matures,
okay,
which is it's a source, a non-federal source of funds.
okay.
Also,
Okay.
oh, you got it.
Okay, yes.
You gotta read that.
Motion for distribution of funds at Park Gardens.
Again, thank
Dis-
you, Madam Chair.
disposition of
This
funds.
motion is an issue we agreed to back in the early phases of the Park Gardens rent issue, and when we had the public hearings, we agreed to rental increases as well as providing, I believe, $225,000 in non-federal funds to support Park Gardens going forward. Again, that will be part of the August 4th CD that will mature on that date, so we can access that, which is, again, non-federal funds. If I can have a motion for that.
And, okay. Yeah, so moved. And what was that amount again? Could you repeat that again?
$225,000.
225.
We'll establish a separate fund to put that in, or we could put it in the general Park Gardens fund, I believe.
And that is going directly for repairs, maintenance?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Alpert?
Yes.
Mr. Dave?
Yes.
Mrs. Cohn?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Under
That concludes new business.
yeah, okay. Under personnel, if you'd like to speak to that, Mr. Lynott?
Under personnel, we have one employee, Vince Deemer, on workers' compensation. And that's all under personnel, Madam Chair.
Okay. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.